On this episode, how much is enough? Hey everybody, this is the quarter show, and closing deals. What does it take? How much is enough? It can be really challenging, and nowadays people are dispersed and people are overwhelmed, and they seem to be in 2017 compared to, let's say, 2004 even. They seem to be a lot more out of communication, a lot more resistant to communication. And resistant to action, different things like that, than ever, honestly. And I think you've got LinkedIn, and you have Facebook, and you have Twitter, and you have Instagram, and you have phone calls, and you have email, and people are just buried in email. And it's like, to close a deal, when you look at it, it's like, what does it take? How many times, how many asks, how many controls? Like, what do you need to do to close a deal? And I think, in my own estimation, my own opinion, it's a lot more than a lot of people put in, and you're chronically underestimating it. Probably. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I don't know. I think a lot of salespeople are. And, you look at it, it's like, it seems redundant, or it seems repetitive, or it seems like obvious, but you may have to ask somebody. You may have to put a proposal in front of them. We use Adobe EchoSign. I don't know if they call it that anymore. I think Adobe eSign. I like that tool a lot when you send a proposal, but you may have to put a proposal in front of them. You might have to do that 4 or 5 times. You may have to remind them. You may have to call them and text them and send a voice memo and send a video message, maybe a video message. And all of those in some degree may have to say, hey, you know what? If we're good here, if you like the proposal and everything's squared away, as long as everything's squared away, you're happy, do me a favor, sign off on the proposal, let's get that executed, let's get this rolling so we can get this thing started. In whatever form, you may have to, in the most transparent, most direct, most candid language possible, ask, and then try and control it to get it done. And it's this jostling between asking and handling, ask, handle, control, ask, handle, control, going back and forth in the close. And I think that people sometimes assume that the prospect is going to ask themselves or something, or like to some degree they're just going to, like, at some point they're just going to tip over, like sell, and at some point those tip over. But it doesn't work that way. It's like people are not rigged that way. Certainly not in 2017. You have to sort of, if it's not closing, right? If they're not signed, if it's not closing, it's like, what's there? Why isn't it closing, right? And that means you may have to text them, or you may have to call and leave a voicemail. You may have to do a video, like, hey, John. You may have to leave a voicemail, and it's just, and every single one of those is an opportunity to ask again, which means you may have to repeat. And to you, you're thinking, God, this is redundant, and it is. But that is often what it takes, and it's just like repeat. And yes, sell, yes, handle, and yes, try and filter out, like, hey, if there's anything we're missing, if there's, I don't know if it's this or it's that, but if you looked at the proposal, it looks good, let's go through it. And it may mean you just have to really impinge on the universe, find out what that thing is, but at the same time, every single opportunity that you get, ask, handle, and keep doing that over and over again. And you may be thinking, hey, it's, I should ask one time, or we're good, or maybe twice, but it could be 10. It could be 10 times. And finally, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get that back over to you today. Why? It's like, well, I don't know. They're distracted. They're overwhelmed. Your emails are going down their inbox, getting buried in their inbox. They've got things going on, and the truth is, buyers do funny things in the close. They do funny things when they have to spend money. They do funny things when they have to sign.
But the really key point, though, and to separate these points out, is the ask and the repetition of the ask, because there's some reason, and there's some number of reasons, and there's some things that may have to be handled, different things like that. But that repetition of ask, there's actually, and this is super important data you brought up, there's a kind of human allergy to repeating exactly the same thing over again. There is a desire not to, or to alter it, or to say it differently, or to, like, I can't quite say the same thing as I said last time, or if I repeat myself enough times, there's a human allergy It's not natural. It feels not natural to do that, but it's a massive skill. So this is pay super close attention to this. Hey, I'd like you to sign off on this. Is there anything else we need? If not, go ahead and sign off. Hey, I'd like you to sign off on this. If there's something else we need, let me know. Otherwise, go ahead and sign off. Hey, right? Repeat.
It is.
Precise.
You don't want to do it. Like, a lot of people don't want to do
Right.
it, and it seems ridiculous. It's like, why do I have to do this? How could this be? But it's not ridiculous, and it's amazing how many times that works, and you just need to do it. If you've done everything else in the sales cycle, if you look at it this way, if you've done everything else, you've done a great discovery call, you've done a great proposal review, you've serviced them, you've handled objections, you've gone through handlings, if everything is done, and you know that you put the confidence material there, and you know that you've done the earlier steps, then the correct thing for you to do at that point is basically just ask, handle, control, but ask. And my experience, a lot of salespeople don't. They certainly don't take it as far as they're supposed to. And the amazing thing is I might come in and tag on some deals, and I personally do that. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying I've seen this so many times. I come in and do that exact thing, and it closes. Mm-hmm. And the missing ingredient was the repetition of the ask. Yeah. And it was like, well, did you ask? And I'm like, well, yeah, I did. It's like, when? You know?
Because here's how it goes. The salesperson asks, let's say they have someone come in on the cycle to help them. The salesperson asks, and maybe the salesperson asks a couple times, and they don't get response or whatever. And then someone else comes in to help them, and they ask, and then the actual concern comes up. You know, we actually didn't want 10 videos. We were thinking a series of 8 would handle this.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Here's the 8. Ask. Right?
Right.
It's
Again.
Yeah, again, you have to, so fine, it untangles a hidden thing, or you discover what was actually needed or wanted, or whatever comes up, but that ask comes again, right? And that's what, and it's hard to do. It feels weird, and the reason why there's like, you go, it might sound like it works. The reason why we can say it works because we know it does, and the reason why, and you'll find out, it seems to not work for many people is because most people can't do it. They can't do that repetition.
They can't do it. You know, I have 3 kids myself. You know, it's funny. It's like like, and you look at kids, right? And they don't have any. They have no back off on this ask, and the truth is, it even works from kids. And there's ask, and then I guess over time people just. They get stopped or whatever, and people don't do it.
Yeah, it goes into social manners and all these social cues
manners,
and other weird stuff, and you think you're battering someone down, but you're really not, right? What you're doing is like your kids. Now, Rob, he doesn't have to be sold if he doesn't want to, but his kids sell him, and they do it probably, I would guess, by some amount of repetition, right? Yep. But we at least know that by repetition, children often get what they want. And fine, it might move the needle a little bit, it might ruffle the feathers a little bit, but it gets the job done, and it can be done cordially. It can be done with manners. Yeah. It doesn't have to be an insanity.
Like an annoyance or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting phenomena to it, and the truth is the people are distracted. They're doing other things, and they're just like, it's just, sometimes just like you repeat it, and you put it there, and you're like, so John, listen, and like, it may have been an hour ago or yesterday, you said it, but it may be approximately the same thing, like, hey John, look, if everything else is good, I changed the proposal, updated today's date. If everything else is good, do me a favor, sign off on that proposal, and then get that back to me, and I'll get it going right away. I'll get this thing kicked off. And you're like, I just said that yesterday. Yep. Or I just did this. It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter.
And how much is enough? When you're done. Right? Like, you'll know when you're done. Yeah. Right? Because you have a signed contract. And you can't stop doing it until you're there. And so it's like you have to find all these creative ways potentially, or not necessarily, but to reframe it and to re-ask and to ask in different ways. And often at the close, I'll ask in the most transparent, most candid language I possibly can.
Yep. Yeah, the thing is you can go along and you can get creative in your communication in terms of trying to shake loose the concern, the reservation, the reason they're not signing. And then come in with the ask, right? I mean, I have 2 very awesome clients right now, and I mean, flunk on me for having to ask for a couple weeks, like it should be done already. But I am, and I'm never ever going to stop. Like, never.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, so it's like
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If you do business-to-business sales of any capacity, in fact, if you do sales of any capacity, this is a true piece of data. And I'll tell you, people either don't ask or they don't ask enough, and they don't ask in a transparent way. And they're kind of waiting for the prospect to ask themselves to some degree. Like they're hoping that they're going to sell to a certain point, and the prospect is just going to say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to get this kicked off. And that happens sometimes. But do not, I wouldn't bank on that. I want to bank on, okay, I know that they're probably not going to ask themselves, so I have to come in and basically be like, okay, yeah, just sign this thing off, we'll get it rolling, get it going, whatever. And they do. But it's like I have to control that outcome, and if I'm relying on them to control that outcome, or I'm hoping or wishing, first of all, it takes longer or it doesn't happen at all. And let's just make sure this week when you're looking at your deals, when was the last time you asked? How transparent are you asking? How direct are you asking? How, clearly are you asking? Are you asking the right person? Have you asked all the people? Right, you got the contact. Have you gone to the power? Have you gone to the decision maker? Have you asked them? Have you asked everybody? And you keep doing that, and you'll start to see a better conversion rate. You'll start to see more deals come in. If you just do nothing else other than increase your ask, increase your repetition of your ask, and increase the transparency of your ask. Okay, I hope that helps. Hope you like it, and if you have not subscribed already, do so right there by clicking the red button, subscribe button. We'd love to have you on the quarter show. You get updated every week. And hit the like button and share it on social if you like. And if you have any questions or comments or ideas for shows, by all means, leave them in the comments. Okay? Thanks.